We are going to start off with estimating quotients. This comes from Chapter 4, Lesson 1, Check. So number 1 asks, tell which sentence is the best estimate for 200 divided by 26. So I already have an arrow drawn here, and I brought down 200 because I know that 200 is rounded to the nearest hundredth. So I'm just going to leave that the same. I also have 4 options over here. So A is 200 divided by 20 equals 10. B, 200 divided by 40 equals 5. C, 200 divided by 25 equals 8. And D, 250 divided by 25 equals 10. So I'm going to look over here to see if I can cross off any of my options to make it a little bit easier on myself. So for A, 200 divided by 20. So 200, we said we already wanted to keep the same because it's rounded to the nearest hundred. And then I have 20. So 20 is pretty close to 26, so I can leave that for right now. For option B, I have 200 divided by 40. Well, 40 and 26 are pretty far apart, so I know that will not be an option. C, 200 divided by 25, could also be an option because 25 and 26 are pretty close, and they left the 200 the same, which we already said we wanted to keep the same. And then for D, 250 divided by 25. Well, 250 and 200 are pretty far apart. So we already said, again, that we wanted to keep this. And then 25 and 26 are close, but this 250 would make me want to just cross this one off. All right, so now I have 2 options. So I'm going to look. So 20 and 26 are still kind of far apart. I would probably round this to the nearest 10, but because the nearest 10 isn't an option, I'm just going to go to 25. So if I divide 200 divided by 25, I need to see if 25 can go into 200 evenly. Well, if I think about money, $1 is 4 quarters, and each quarter is worth 25 cents. So if I have 25 and multiply it by 4, I get 100. So then I also can think, if I double this number to 8, will I get 200? So if I do the math over here, I have 40, this is 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So in fact, I do get 200. So 200 divided by 25 would equal 8, which is option C. So C is the correct answer. Now for number 2. Tell which sentence is the best estimate for 769 divided by 19. So I need to look at both of these numbers to see what I could round those to so that they could go into one another evenly. So I'm going to draw my arrows underneath, and I'm also going to look at my options over here. So A, 700 divided by 25 equals 28. B, 720 divided by 20 equals 36. C, 770 divided by 10 equals 77. And D, 800 divided by 20 equals 40. So I'm going to look at A, 700 divided by 25. 706 and 769 are pretty far away. And 25 and 19 are also not super close. So I know that A will not be an option. B, 720 divided by 20, well, 720 is still not very close to 769. And 19 and 20 are close, but because of these 2 numbers, I'm going to cross this one off as well. For C, 770 divided by 10, that could be an option, so I'm going to leave that for right now. And D, 800 divided by 20 equals 40. So 20 and 19, they're pretty close, and 769 and 800 are close as well. So now I'm going to look to see which would be a better option. So I am going to start off with rounding this to the nearest 100, and this to the nearest 10, which would be 20. So I need to now look to see if 2 can go into 8 evenly. I also need to remember with division that I need to cross off a 0 on each number. So 2 can go into 8 4 times and then add a 0. So my answer would be D. Number 3. Tell which sentence is the best estimate for the division problem 185 divided by 61. So I'm also going to draw my arrows underneath here. And I'm also going to look at my options. So A, 150 divided by 50 equals 3. B, 180 divided by 60 equals 3. C, 1,800 divided by 60 equals 30. And D, 200 divided by 50 equals 4. So I'm going to see which ones I can cross off over here to, again, make it easier. So 150 divided by 50. Well, 150 is not very close to 185, and 50 isn't very close to 61, so I'm going to cross this one off. For B, 180 divided by 60 equals 3. That could be an option because 180 is close to 185, and 60 is close to 61. C, 1,800 is not close to 185, so right away I know that won't work. And 200 divided by 50. 200 is close to 185, but 50 is not close to 61, so I'm going to cross that one off. So my best answer is probably going to be B, but let's see if 60 can go into 180 evenly. So if I round this to 180 and this to 60, I'm going to underline my 6 and see how many times it can go into 18. So I'm going to cross off a 0, again, because we're dividing, so we need to get rid of our zeros. So 6 goes into 18 3 times, which would be option B. So B is the correct answer. Number 4, tell which statement is the best estimate for the division problem 900 divided by 28. So 900 is already estimated to the nearest hundred, so I'm just going to leave that the way it is. Now I need to see what I could round 28 to so that I could go evenly into 900. So I have A, 900 divided by 45 equals 20. B, 900 divided by 50 equals 18. C, 900 divided by 30 equals 30. And D, 1,000 divided by 25 equals 40. So if we look at A, 900 divided by 45, well, 45 and 28 are pretty far apart. So I'm going to cross that one off. B, 900 divided by 50 equals 18. Well, the 900 stayed the same, but 28 and 50 are pretty far apart, so I know that won't be an option either. C, 900 divided by 30, 900 stay the same, and 30 is close to 28, but we also just want to make sure that no other option is available. And D, 1,000 divided by 25. 900 and 1,000 are pretty close, but we already said we wanted to keep 900 the same, so I'm going to cross this one off. So the only option we have is C. So we just need to make sure that this answer actually does work. So if we bring down 28 and we round that to 30, we're going to cross off a 0, cross off a 0. 3 goes into 9 3 times, and then add my 0, which is answer C. So C is the correct answer. Now for number 5. Tell which statement is the best estimate for the division problem 651 divided by 82. So I'm going to draw my arrows and then look over here to see which would be my best answer. A, 640 divided by 8 equals 80. B, 640 divided by 80 equals 8. C, 700 divided by 50 equals 14. Or D, 720 divided by 60 equals 12. So I'm going to look over here again and see. So 651. So, and this one's 82. So we know that we wouldn't round 640 divided by 8 because 8 and 82 are way too far apart. So I can cross that one off. B, 640 divided by 80 equals 8. That could be an option because 640 and 651 are close, and 80 and 82 are very close as well. For C, 700 divided by 50 equals 14. 700 is close to 651, but 50 is not close to 82, so I also know that can't be an option. And then D, 720 divided by 60. Well, 720 is fairly close to 651, but 60 and 82 are not close. So B is going to be the correct answer, but let's just double check to make sure it is correct. So if we round this to 640 divided by 80, we see how many times 8 can go into 64. So we need to cross off our zeros, which would equal 8, because 8 times 8 is 64. So B is the correct answer.